Flooded with noise, information, and opinions, clarity of thought has become an elusive superpower. Think of the moments you've faced a decision overwhelmed by emotions, distractions, or the weight of conflicting advice. Stoicism, a philosophy rooted in resilience and self-discipline, offers timeless tools to cut through that noise and see things as they are. The Stoics believed that clarity isn't just about understanding the world around us, it's about knowing ourselves, our values, and our choices. At its core, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to let go of the rest. This doesn't mean indifference or passivity, but rather a profound discipline in thinking. By observing our thoughts, we can separate facts from assumptions, wisdom from impulse. Imagine making choices free from anxiety or anger, guided instead by purpose and understanding. In this journey, we'll explore key Stoic techniques, rooted in ancient wisdom yet strikingly relevant today, that can help us think clearly, make better decisions, and lead lives of true intention. Ready to sharpen your mind? Let's dive into Stoic clarity. Number 1. The power of perception. In the Stoic worldview, it is not external events that disturb us, but the way we perceive and interpret them. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and other Stoic philosophers emphasize that our reactions to the world are shaped more by our inner thoughts than by the events themselves. This insight has profound implications, for it suggests that the key to mastering our emotions and cultivating resilience lies not in changing the world around us, but in transforming how we see it. When faced with challenges, our initial response is often one of frustration or resistance. Yet the Stoics remind us that this reaction is not inevitable. It is possible, through deliberate training of the mind, to shift our perception and find opportunities for growth in even the most difficult situations. By consciously reframing our experiences, we can transform setbacks into lessons and adversity into strength. Aristotle's concept of the golden mean offers valuable guidance in this endeavor. The golden mean is the balance between two extremes, excess and deficiency. In the case of perception, it is the balance between excessive optimism and pessimism. The Stoics advocate for a clear-eyed view of reality, one that acknowledges both the difficulties we face and the potential for growth within them. By finding this balance, we are better equipped to navigate life's challenges without being overwhelmed by negativity or blind to the lessons they may hold. This principle of balance also resonates with the ideas of Carl Jung, who argued that perception shapes reality. Jung believed that our psychological experiences are deeply influenced by the way we perceive the world. The lens through which we view life dictates how we react to it. By consciously altering this lens, by choosing to see the positive in difficult circumstances, we can reshape our reality, aligning our experiences more closely with our values and aspirations. The practical application of these ideas is simple yet powerful. Every day offers us countless opportunities to train our perception. Instead of focusing on what has gone wrong or what we lack, we can train ourselves to see what is going right and what we have learned. In moments of difficulty, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow from this challenge? By reframing our experiences in this way, we begin to shift the balance of our perception, turning obstacles into stepping stones. This process is not instantaneous, it requires consistent effort. Yet by making this practice a daily habit, we can gradually reshape our view of the world. Each time we consciously choose to focus on the positive aspects of a situation, we strengthen our ability to do so in the future. Over time, this shift in perception becomes second nature, and we begin to approach life's challenges with a sense of calm and clarity. In conclusion, Perception is not merely a passive experience, but an active force that shapes our reality. By training our perception, we can transform how we experience the world, turning adversity into opportunity and hardship into growth. The Stoic philosophers Aristotle and Carl Jung all teach us that we have the power to change our perception and, in doing so, change our lives. By embracing this power, we unlock the potential for a deeper, more resilient happiness that is not dependent on external circumstances, but rooted in our own ability to see the world clearly and wisely. Number 2. Mastery of the mind. In the whirlwind of daily life, emotions often surge unpredictably, threatening to steer our actions in ways we may later regret. Yet the Stoics, with their profound wisdom, remind us that we are not slaves to our emotions. Rather, we are the masters of how we respond to them. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the key to emotional balance lies not in suppressing our feelings, but in using reason to guide our reactions, ensuring that our decisions are driven by wisdom rather than impulsive emotions. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, offers valuable insight into this concept. He advises that when emotions rise, especially in moments of anger or frustration, we must take a step back and allow reason to lead the way. Emotions are transient, they come and go. Our true power, according to Marcus, lies in our ability to control how we respond to them, not in trying to control the emotions themselves. By acknowledging the fleeting nature of our feelings, we can detach ourselves from their immediate influence and choose a more thoughtful and measured response. Seneca, another Stoic thinker, echoes this sentiment, urging us to reflect on the root causes of our emotions. Instead of reacting impulsively, we should pause and examine what triggers these feelings and whether they align with our values. Seneca teaches that emotional reactions, when unchecked, can lead to irrational behavior, but when approached with reason, they can become opportunities for self-awareness and growth. By understanding the origin of our emotions, we can prevent them from controlling us and instead respond with intentionality and clarity. The psychological concept of individuation, as introduced by Carl Jung, adds depth to this Stoic perspective. Individuation refers to the process of integrating the various aspects of our personality, including our emotions, into a unified whole. Jung believed that by confronting and understanding our emotions rather than repressing them, we can achieve greater self-awareness and personal growth. This aligns closely with Stoic thought, which does not advocate for the suppression of emotions but for their thoughtful integration into our decision-making process. By acknowledging and understanding our emotional responses, we can transform them into tools for personal development. Stoicism teaches us that emotions are not inherently bad or undesirable. They are a natural part of being human. The key is not to suppress them, but to respond to them with mindfulness and reason. When emotions like anger, fear, or anxiety arise, the Stoics encourage us to pause and reflect before reacting. This moment of reflection gives us the space to choose a rational response, rather than being swept away by our initial emotional reaction. Through this process, we gain control over our actions and begin to act with greater wisdom and purpose. In practical terms, this Stoic approach can be incredibly empowering. When faced with a challenging situation, instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, breathe, and consider how best to respond. This pause allows us to detach from the immediate emotional reaction and instead approach the situation with a clear mind. Whether it's a conflict at work, a disagreement with a friend, or a moment of personal stress, the Stoic approach encourages us to step back and evaluate the best course of action, using reason as our guide. This ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally is not about denying our feelings. It is about cultivating the ability to manage them effectively. Stoicism empowers us to harness the energy of our emotions and direct it toward actions that align with our values and goals. Instead of being overwhelmed by emotions, we can use them as a source of strength and insight, guiding us toward more deliberate and constructive actions. In conclusion, the Stoic path is not one of emotional suppression, but of emotional mastery. By practicing mindfulness and integrating reason into our emotional responses, we can transform our feelings into powerful tools for personal growth. As Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Carl Jung all teach, the key to mastering our emotions lies not in denying them, but in understanding them and responding with wisdom. Through this process, we gain greater control over our actions, leading to a life that is not dictated by fleeting feelings, but guided by thoughtful intention and inner peace. Number 3. Mastering what you can control. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a deceptively simple yet profoundly impactful principle: understanding the dichotomy of control. This key insight teaches us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is beyond it. By doing so, we can free ourselves from unnecessary stress and anxiety, allowing us to focus our energy on the things that truly matter. The Stoic philosophers, particularly Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, frequently emphasize this distinction. They remind us that while we cannot control external circumstances, whether it's the weather, the actions of others, or the twists of fate, we have complete control over our responses, thoughts, and attitudes. This shift in focus is a game changer, offering a roadmap to peace of mind and resilience. The more we recognize and accept the limits of our control, the less power external events have over our well-being. Interestingly, this Stoic principle resonates with the teachings of earlier philosophers such as Aristotle and Plato. Both of these thinkers also underscored the importance of focusing on what is within our grasp. Aristotle, in his Nicomachean Ethics, advocates for the cultivation of virtue, something that can be controlled and developed through deliberate action. Similarly, Plato emphasizes the role of reason in achieving personal growth. Both philosophers, like the Stoics, encourage self-improvement and the pursuit of inner excellence as the true path to happiness. By adopting the dichotomy of control, we stop wasting energy on things we cannot change. Instead, we begin to focus on our internal actions, our thoughts, attitudes, and decisions. When faced with a challenging situation, the Stoic asks, "Is this within my control?" If the answer is no, they let go of the need to influence it. Instead, they turn their attention to how they can respond to it. This is where true power lies, in the ability to choose our response, regardless of external circumstances. This approach not only alleviates stress but also fosters resilience. When we let go of the burden of controlling things beyond our reach, we find ourselves with more energy and clarity to focus on what we can change. Whether it's our reactions, our habits, or our approach to difficult situations, we become empowered to shape our lives in meaningful ways. In practical terms, applying the dichotomy of control means learning to assess each situation with a critical eye. Ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is yes, then focus your efforts on taking constructive action. If the answer is no, accept it for what it is and move forward. This mindset doesn't mean passive resignation, rather it empowers us to take ownership of our inner world while letting go of the need to master the outer world. This principle is not just a theoretical idea, but a practical guide to daily living. It allows us to approach life with greater clarity, making decisions based on what we can control and accepting the rest with equanimity. In doing so, we reduce our susceptibility to stress, anxiety, and frustration, enabling us to lead more peaceful, fulfilling lives. In conclusion, the dichotomy of control offers a profound lesson for modern life. By recognizing what is within our control and what is not, we liberate ourselves from the tyranny of external circumstances. This Stoic wisdom, shared by figures like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Aristotle, and Plato, reminds us that true freedom lies not in controlling the world around us, but in mastering our own responses. When we apply this principle, we can direct our energy toward what matters most, cultivating inner peace, virtue, and the strength to face life's challenges with grace. Number 4. The power of virtue. In our relentless pursuit of a fulfilling life, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that happiness and contentment can be found through external achievements. A better job, more money, or the approval of others. Yet Stoic philosophy offers a profound and transformative perspective on fulfillment. True fulfillment, the Stoics argue, does not lie in external possessions or circumstances, but in the cultivation of virtue. For them, virtue, embodied in wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline, is the highest good and the key to leading a meaningful and purposeful existence. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, three of the most revered Stoic philosophers, each emphasize that the foundation of a fulfilled life rests on virtue. These philosophers do not view virtue as some lofty or abstract ideal that we strive for only when things are going well. Rather, they insist that virtue is something we can practice every single day. It is the guiding force behind all our decisions, helping us navigate the complexities of life and respond to challenges with dignity, integrity, and grace. But what exactly is virtue, and how does it apply to our daily lives? At its core, virtue is about aligning our actions with our highest values. It is not merely about understanding philosophical concepts, but about living them out in the choices we make and the way we treat others. The Stoics argue that virtue is not about being perfect, but about making progress, consistently choosing to act in ways that are wise, just courageous, and disciplined. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." For him, happiness was not something to be sought externally, but a product of cultivating the right mindset. By choosing to act in accordance with virtue, we can create a life of inner peace and fulfillment, no matter what happens in the external world. This is perhaps one of the most powerful insights of Stoicism, that we can control our response to external events, and in doing so we can maintain a sense of tranquility regardless of life's turbulence. Seneca, too, highlights the importance of virtue in navigating life's trials. In his letters, he often reminds us that the path to a fulfilling life is not free from hardship. However, by practicing virtue, we can turn these challenges into opportunities for growth. Courage, Seneca teaches, is not the absence of fear, but the strength to act despite it. When faced with adversity, virtue empowers us to face our fears, endure difficulties, and emerge stronger on the other side. Epictetus, another pillar of Stoic thought, encourages us to focus on what is within our control and let go of the rest. This concept is foundational to Stoicism. By focusing our energy on our own character and actions, we free ourselves from the anxiety and frustration that arise from trying to control the uncontrollable. The practice of virtue is an active process. It requires intentional effort and a constant re-examination of our thoughts and behaviors. The Stoic virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline, are not just abstract principles but practical tools we can apply in our everyday lives. Wisdom allows us to make decisions based on reason, not impulse. Justice guides us in treating others with fairness and respect. Courage enables us to confront our fears and stand up for what is right. And self-discipline helps us control our desires and avoid indulgence. Together, these virtues provide a moral compass steering us toward a life of integrity, balance, and fulfillment. It's important to note that Stoic virtue is not just about personal development. It's about contributing to the greater good. The Stoics believed that we are all part of a larger interconnected world, and that by acting virtuously we help create a more just and harmonious society. This is where Stoic ethics intersects with broader philosophical traditions, such as Aristotle's concept of the golden mean. For Aristotle, the key to a fulfilling life lies in finding balance, striking the right measure between excess and deficiency. This idea is echoed in Stoicism, where the pursuit of virtue requires us to live in harmony with nature, avoiding extremes and cultivating moderation in all things. The practice of virtue is also deeply aligned with psychological insights about well-being. Research in positive psychology supports the Stoic view that living according to our values, rather than chasing external rewards, leads to greater life satisfaction. Studies show that people who cultivate virtues like gratitude, kindness, and resilience tend to experience greater happiness and well-being. In this sense, Stoicism is ahead of its time, offering a psychological roadmap for living a rich and fulfilling life. In practical terms, what does it mean to live according to Stoic virtues? It means making conscious choices that reflect your values. Every day we are faced with decisions, big and small, that shape who we are and the kind of life we lead. By consistently practicing wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline, we can align our actions with our deepest values. This is not a one-time effort, but a continuous practice, a commitment to self-improvement and moral growth. Living virtuously also means cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we have and accepting what we cannot change. It means acknowledging the impermanence of life and embracing it with humility. Instead of seeking happiness in material wealth, we learn to find joy in the simplicity of living with integrity. We learn that true fulfillment does not come from what we acquire, but from who we become in the process. Number 5. The power of perspective. In the face of life's inevitable challenges, stress and anxiety often seem like constant companions. Yet, one of the most transformative Stoic practices involves a simple yet profound shift in perspective. By broadening our view of the world and our problems, we can alleviate much of the burden that weighs on our minds. This shift, rooted in Stoicism, offers not just clarity but the potential for peace, allowing us to navigate life's difficulties with greater ease. Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most reflective of the Stoic philosophers, suggests that we often create unnecessary stress by focusing too narrowly on immediate concerns. In his meditations, he encourages us to think beyond the fleeting nature of our present troubles, asking us to consider the long-term impact of the issues that trouble us. In the grand scheme of life, many of our anxieties become insignificant when viewed from a broader perspective. By seeing our challenges in a wider context, we can more readily accept them for what they are: temporary obstacles in an ever-changing world. This Stoic practice of broadening one's perspective resonates deeply with the teachings of other great philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. Aristotle's philosophy of the balanced life aligns closely with the Stoic emphasis on finding peace through moderation. He advocates for the cultivation of virtue as the path to true happiness, and in doing so, urges us to avoid extremes, to step back and reflect on the bigger picture. Plato's allegory of the cave offers a powerful metaphor for this expanded view. In his famous tale, prisoners trapped in a cave are limited to seeing only shadows on the wall. They believe these shadows to be the entirety of reality. It is only when one prisoner escapes the cave and steps into the light that they realize the full scope of the world around them. Plato's allegory teaches us that our limited perspectives, shaped by our immediate surroundings and experiences, can prevent us from understanding life as it truly is. By stepping outside the confines of our own perception, we gain the freedom to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. Socrates, too, emphasizes the importance of reflection in understanding our place in the world. His method of questioning, known as the Socratic method, encourages individuals to examine their assumptions and beliefs. It is only through this kind of introspection that we can uncover deeper truths about ourselves and the world around us. This reflective approach, combined with the Stoic practice of expanding our perspective, allows us to approach life's challenges with greater wisdom and understanding. When we apply these philosophical teachings to our own lives, we find that viewing our problems within a broader context brings peace. Imagine for a moment that you are overwhelmed by a personal or professional challenge. Instead of allowing the stress to consume you, pause and ask yourself, will this issue matter in the long term? Will it have any lasting impact on your life a year, 5 years, or 10 years from now? By recognizing the transient nature of many of our worries, we can detach from the emotional weight of the situation and regain our sense of calm. This simple shift in perspective has powerful psychological effects. It allows us to let go of the tension that arises from obsessing over the small details and brings clarity to our thinking. We are better able to assess the true nature of our problems and respond with thoughtful action rather than reacting out of fear or anxiety. In a practical sense, this approach means making the effort to step back from our immediate concerns and to reflect on the broader picture of our lives. By doing so, we gain a greater appreciation for what truly matters: our relationships, our values, our purpose. This deeper understanding not only helps us manage stress and anxiety, but also allows us to live with greater presence and intention. We are able to move forward with peace, knowing that our troubles are not as insurmountable as they may first appear. To broaden one's perspective is to adopt a mindset of humility and acceptance. It is to recognize that we are but small parts of a vast, interconnected world, and that our individual struggles are just one piece of a much larger puzzle. By embracing this view, we align ourselves with the timeless wisdom of the Stoics, Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates, finding peace and clarity in the face of life's challenges. In conclusion, the power of perspective cannot be overstated. By stepping outside the confines of our immediate concerns and considering the broader context of time and existence, we free ourselves from the grip of anxiety. This practice, simple in concept yet profound in its impact, allows us to approach life with a calm and reflective mindset. Through the wisdom of the Stoic philosophers and their ancient counterparts, we learn that peace is not found in the avoidance of challenges, but in the way we choose to view them. Number 6. Living stoically. Turning wisdom into action. As we reach the end of this journey, it is essential to remember that Stoicism is not merely a set of abstract ideas to be pondered in quiet moments of reflection. It is a way of life, a philosophy meant to be lived, not just learned. The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus provides us with the tools to navigate the complexities of life, to cultivate inner peace, and to foster personal growth. But none of this is truly valuable unless we integrate these principles into our daily actions. The challenge, therefore, is not just to understand Stoic thought, but to embody it through consistent practice. It is in the small, everyday choices that we make, how we respond to challenges, how we treat others, and how we maintain our focus on what truly matters, that the Stoic way of life comes to fruition. Stoicism asks us to be present, to remain grounded in our values, and to act with purpose and integrity, regardless of external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that our minds are the ultimate source of control. We can't always control the events of our lives, but we can control how we respond to them. Seneca reminds us that time is precious and every moment should be used wisely. Epictetus urges us to focus on what is within our power to change, letting go of what is beyond our control. Together, their teachings form a powerful foundation for living a life of resilience, mindfulness, and peace. Now is the time to take these teachings beyond the pages of books and into your life. Start by taking small steps, perhaps by practicing gratitude each day, pausing before reacting in challenging situations, or being more deliberate in your actions. As you build these habits, you'll find that Stoicism becomes not just a theory, but a practice that leads to a more peaceful, focused, and resilient life. The journey of applying Stoic wisdom to everyday life is ongoing, and it requires continuous reflection and action. The beauty of Stoicism is that it provides a framework for growth that is adaptable to every situation, empowering you to respond to life with clarity and composure. I invite you to continue exploring Stoicism and to take what you've learned here into the world. Share your journey with others and inspire them to do the same. By living stoically, we not only transform our own lives, but also contribute to a more thoughtful, resilient, and compassionate world. In a world filled with distractions, complexities, and noise, the power of clear thinking is a rare skill. Stoicism teaches us that clarity isn't something external we seek, but an internal state we cultivate. It's about simplifying our thoughts, shedding unhelpful emotions, and focusing on what truly matters. This isn't a passive act, but an active choice, one that we make repeatedly in the face of life's challenges. Take Marcus Aurelius, for instance. He reminded himself daily to separate what he could control from what he couldn't. By focusing only on what was within his power, he freed himself from the weight of unnecessary worries. This practice allowed him to face each day with a clear mind and a determined heart. For Seneca, clear thinking came from anticipating adversity and being prepared to face it. When we recognize potential challenges and embrace them mentally, we reduce fear and confusion. Suddenly, those worst-case scenarios lose their power over us, and we approach situations calmly and thoughtfully. Clear thinking is more than a Stoic ideal, it's a tool for modern life. Whether you're making a critical decision at work, navigating relationships, or dealing with personal struggles, clarity of mind is your ally. By focusing on what matters, acknowledging our emotions without letting them control us, and returning to our core principles, we can bring a Stoic perspective into any situation. If these insights into Stoic thinking resonate with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow along. We've only scratched the surface, and there's so much more to explore in the journey to living a life of wisdom, resilience, and clarity. Stay tuned for more valuable lessons.